Saturday, 3 p.m, St James's Park. The Premier League is back, Chelsea are back, and we are here today to preview Chelsea's match against Newcastle United. There was only one man I could call in to help me preview this game. It is channel fan favourite and my good friend Josh Aveste. Josh, what's happening, mate?
Good to be back, mate. What a game this is going to be. I'm feeling confident. Are you?
I am, yeah. Looking back to the couple of games prior to this one, I was confident going into the Spurs one. I had pretty much zero confidence going into that Man City game. Like, I really thought that we'd probably get rolled over there. We had seen City take their losses, and usually their losses throughout the course of a season aren't clustered. They're sort of more clustered, I should say. They're not spread out. So once they start winning, they just go on a run and it goes from there. So I wasn't really expecting us to get too much from that game. But going on the performances over those last two games, now I'm massively confident. What about yourself?
Yeah, I feel that way as well. Like, I don't feel that now as Chelsea fans we can look back on the past and go, how have we done in this fixture? Because we're a completely different team now. We're a completely different squads, completely different managerial system. Like, everything has changed, hasn't it? So I don't think you can look in the past. I think you've got to look at the injury situation, which we have to talk about, that Newcastle have, because they have a crisis. Like, we thought we had a crisis. They're in a very, very bad way. Then you've also got to look at how we've been playing against the big teams, and Newcastle are certainly a big team now. And I feel that we've got to maintain that confidence. We've got to maintain some momentum now, because quite frankly, we should be fancying a win, especially when you put all of the context out there, the way that we've been playing recently, the way that Potter's got the squad going and performing. Like, I feel you do have to be positive.
I feel like this injury crisis is hitting Newcastle hard as well. They've got, what is it? They've got 12 players
I
out
heard
with
14.
14. I think, do you know what I was looking at? I think one or two might be available for this match and coming back. So they have had 14 out. I think they've got 12 out. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Not only that, they've obviously got Tonali banned, so he's absent. And you look at Newcastle's season, unravelling is not the word I would use. You know that I really do rate them. I rate their manager. It's a squad. It's a collective. There are brilliant players in there, but there's no like one performer that elevates everyone else. You know what I mean? I think it's a really good collective. But they've lost their last two games. Obviously, they lost to Dortmund, and then most recently they lost to Bournemouth, didn't they? A match that I actually did think they'd lose in. If you look at their record over the last 5 league games, it's actually the exact same as ours. You've got 2 wins in there, 2 draws and 1 loss. I'm pretty sure. Is that our record? It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's the same as ours, obviously just in, a different sequence.
Yeah.
So surely, looking at that injury crisis, there's not a better time to be playing them, is there?
No, there's not. And it feels to me like, I feel that Spurs and Newcastle are almost the same here, where they've been performing very, very well, maybe above expectations slightly with the performances, but you feel they're on a bit of a cliff. They're on a cliff edge where they're now going to fall off. Because you look at, we were talking about it where Maddison and Van der Ven and Romero all out, key players for Spurs. And then you look at Newcastle, Botman, Wilson injured, their wingers injured, their midfield's injured. They basically have half a defence. So you go, every single one of those, you go, they are going to struggle. And, talking to our big friend Brian, he's going now and he's saying we're fucked. Because, the sheer amount of injuries. And so what I find interesting with them though, mate, is that, as you say, they've got a team collective, so maybe they can surpass injuries. Like, maybe Eddie Howe's got some magic touch to be able to sort of say, well, let's bring everyone together. We're more than the sum of our parts, and so we can get something out of it. But when you look at 12, you go, how far can that actually go? How far can you actually have a team bonding session to actually, get the results? And I feel that this, as I say, is the cliff edge, that once they're off it, then they could unravel. And unless they do get the players back quickly, which it doesn't necessarily seem like they're going to, like Isak is coming back and they need him, absolutely need him. He's their talisman for sure. And when you're talking about players that are standing out, he's definitely one that does stand out in terms of quality. But if they don't get people like Botman back and, Dan Burns injured for a long time, he's been brilliant for them. They've got very, very big players. Tonali's out for, 9 months. Yeah. Huge, brand new signing. So you do worry about them. So I personally do feel that there is only so much that they can do in terms of team spirit now, and they are going to drop off.
The number you mentioned there, 12, they, in my opinion, have got a 12th man, because that St James's Park crowd is always there to spur on the team, to get behind their boys up there, and I think that will be vital for them. Another man that I would pay credit to, Kieran Trippier, because he is the player that has come into Newcastle for me. I don't want to say he's transformed them, but Am I right to say he was the first signing of the new ownership?
Yeah, they really had to convince him to come as well, didn't they? Because he was at Atletico Madrid, you know, performing incredibly well.
Winning La Liga titles as well.
Exactly. And you see that he is talismanic. I remember a lot of people comparing him to like the first signings of the Man City era. Like Company, I don't think he was the first signing. He was definitely in that first cohort, wasn't he? And he was transformative for Man City, wasn't he? In the way that he became the captain of the club, really drove them on, had a high standard. And you need players like that. But I have to say, signing a 29, 30-year-old Kieran Trippier, I wasn't sure whether he would be as talismanic as he is, and he has completely proved me wrong with that.
Don't suppose you remember who the first ever Roman Abramovich signing was, do you?
I don't. Tell me, hit me.
I don't know.
It would be interesting.
It will be someone like Wayne Bridge or Glenn Johnson.
I'm trying to remember those first press conferences. And
Shall I look it up?
Yeah, let's look it up.
Glenn Johnson.
Was it Glenn?
Glenn Johnson, yeah, first signing.
I mean, he was talismanic for us, wasn't he? He was a proper quality
He was good,
player.
man. Glenn Johnson, really, really underrated. We were speaking about Kieran Trippier there.
Yeah.
He ranks first in the Premier League this season when it comes to chances created. He ranks first when it's expected assists. And obviously, you would imagine that Kieran Trippier will be very vital for Newcastle. But when I look at the way that, obviously, we need to play against Newcastle, the sort of metric that I was very much hoping would be high on before a ball was kicked, and it is the one that we rank first in, is possession one in that final third. And we look at what we were expecting of Mauricio Pochettino's team. We were wanting to see a high pressing side, a side that were able to really put defenders under pressure and pick the ball out in those areas to be able to attack and get goals straight away. And obviously we've seen it multiple times. Even at the Blackburn game, we saw Cole Palmer do it and pass the ball on to Raheem Sterling. He ends up scoring. We've seen it throughout this season a lot of times. And I do think that with their defence, which is obviously massively, massively hampered by injuries, Dan Burnout, Fabian Schär out. Is Botman out?
Yeah, Botman's out.
They
don't have a left back. They don't have a left back at all. Like they've got 3 injuries in the left back. Like Lewis Hall can't play because he's on loan from us. Hilarious.
Oh, he can't play.
Can't play.
Oh, I didn't even think that. I'll tell you what, that 14 number you had in your head there probably is right then.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at Lewis Hall and I know he'd had a knock recently, but I thought, he's fit to play. Of course, he's on loan. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh.
So for me, it's not the right, like when we're saying about winning possession from the defenders, right? You've got Lascelles who's gettable. You've got the left-hand side, which is completely gettable. So as much as Trippier could be the best player on the pitch by an absolute country mile, you've got Pope in goal, who's not necessarily the best with his feet. Lascelles, who's again, not necessarily the best with his feet. But as Brian would say, has been absolutely brilliant. And we have to give him some credit because he has been good for them. He's been playing in big games. But yeah, like I feel that they're gettable in the defence for sure. And we should be pressing them very, very high. Conor Gallagher's going to have his best game of the season this season.
Do you know what? I look at that midfield battle there, and obviously we're going to get on to naming your starting 11 for this game, but that midfield battle there, you know, that is one that I'd really, really be expecting us to win. But just quickly, before we get into your starting 11, memories from this fixture in particular.
The one that sticks out for me is actually a bit of a bad memory. I don't know if you remember this. The Papi Cisse goal.
I was going to ask you about that goal. Easily, without a shadow of a doubt, the best goal scored in this fixture, isn't it?
No, it's not. I was there. I was in the East Stands, East Upper. I watched him do it. There is no way he meant to do that.
Right. I'm going to have to call you out on this one, mate. You told me that Mudryk definitely meant that goal against Arsenal.
Right. Do you know what? I was there and I literally watched it go, right? And the way that it's spooned in, like, he is either the most genius footballer of all time. He's better than Paul Scholes. He's better than anyone that putting the ball in the back of the net, right? Or he has got the most lucky shot of all time. And I subscribe to the latter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I can't massively disagree with you. I think it's very unlikely that he did mean it, but my God, what a goal.
It was a goal.
What a goal.
He always scored a load against us as well. Papi Cisse scored a lot of goals against
Mate, for
Chelsea.
half a season, him and Demba Ba were absolutely unreal.
Yeah.
Obviously, we ended up taking Demba Ba off their hands, and
Good player.
Everyone in Anfield remembers what happens after that. Do you know what? My one would probably be, right, a match that I was at, 5-0. I think it was Ranieri's last season. Abramovich is first, Ranieri's last, 5-0. And we spoke about that man, Glenn Johnson. Glenn Johnson scored a brilliant goal in that game. Back post, almost Reece James-esque. Speaking of Reece James, I'm guessing he's going to be in your starting 11. So let's go on to your starting 11. I'll tell you what we'll do, right? Let's read it out in full, and then I will question you after on any areas that I maybe disagree with.
Yeah, I like that. I found this, I don't know if you found this as well, mate. I found this really difficult again because we're getting all these players back. There's so many players that I want to see in the starting 11 that, aren't in the starting 11 and probably don't necessarily have a chance now. And they aren't necessarily 100% fit. So it's getting difficult because I want to put some new boys back in the team. But look, I feel like I've gone for a fairly standard team here and a team that Mauricio Pochettino would be proud of. So let's get into it, mate. Yep. So, right, I've got Sanchez in goal. I think that's pretty easy. Then I've got the 4-3-3 formation, as per usual. Let's keep it simple. So I've got Reece James, Disasi, Thiago Silva, and Levi Colwill on the left-hand side. We might have an argument about that. I'm preparing for it. Enzo, Caicedo, and Gallagher, the midfield three. How the hell is Romeo Lavia going to get into this midfield three? I have no idea.
Listen, we're going to speak about that because that is a big talking point. But let's go into your forward line.
Palmer, Jackson.
Yeah,
I nearly didn't want to say it. I nearly wanted to say someone else. And then Sterling.
Right. Let's dissect it.
Hit me.
The disrespect to Petrovic is completely out. No, I'm joking. No. Look, along that back line, I think the only one right. We're in a predicament here, and you've literally just touched on this. There are certain players that I would love to see back in the lineup, i.e. Benoit Badiashile. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And for me, I do think that he's better than Disasi. I just genuinely do think that. However, are we, when we're picking these lineups now, and when we're looking at how we want to approach games, are we sort of looking at it and going, mate, we changed so much last season and tinkered so much, and we're always going to relay our memory of what a bad season we have and maybe associate it with the amount of tinkering, the amount of changing in personnel there was, and we're now going, okay, it might not be my favoured choice, but it's what I think's best here in terms of keeping that stability within the group. Is that what we're sort of looking at here, or is that just my opinion? You would favour Disasi over having Badiashile in that back line anyway? Because we know that in the position you've put Disasi in there, Thiago Silva is very, very comfortable on that side also. So you could have had him there and had Badiashile there.
I feel like with defenders, you need some continuity. I'm always a big fan, and this is why I hate what Arteta was saying, Arsenal, of like rotating goalkeepers, rotating defenders. I feel centre-backs need to have a pairing. That you need to have some bond there, because you look at history, Vidic and Ferdinand, JT and Carvalho, they've had that chemistry between each other to know what they were going to do, drop in, drop out. And so I feel that you need that. And so that's a plus side of doing it.
Can I just touch on this, what you just said about Arteta there? Because I just got to get it off my chest.
Yeah.
Arteta came second in the league. Brilliant. You came second in the league. Pochettino's done it at Tottenham. I'm not disregarding that as an achievement. You came second in the league, and you thought you were the second coming of Pep Guardiola all of a sudden. You thought you were the second coming of Jesus Christ, and you thought, you know what? I make the rules. I'm going to start playing a centre forward in goal. I'm going to start subbing my goalkeepers at half time. Do you not think, I just look at that and think, mate, that was so naive of you, and you've done absolutely nothing but alienate players in the dressing room by doing that.
You don't rate him? Do you not is this what you're saying? You don't rate him as a manager?
It's not that I don't rate him as a manager. I think he's a good manager, but I think that was an awful decision. And I think that I can't say wholeheartedly that I truly believe that he thought that was the best choice. I just think he got egotistical, and I think he was rubbing his ego a little bit there to go, look, I'm the next one coming through. I can invent things into the game and start doing things that no managers ever before me came. And it's like, on what grounds, mate? Second place league finish.
So you think Arteta's going to make them worse this season with his decisions?
It would probably level out because of the personnel they've brought in terms of obviously Kai Havertz, Germany's left back. But like Declan Rice and that, it'll level them out. But yeah, he's made the goalkeeping area worse in terms of that decision, 100%.
Yeah, I don't get it. But then Ramsdale's doing interviews where he's saying he can't concentrate for more than 60 seconds. So, it's not looking good for Ramsdale. That was a weird. That was a weird one. You got to feel sorry for him in a weird way, because it's sort of like he's exposing his own. I don't know. Sort of, he's being very honest. He's being very open. A lot of footballers wouldn't do that, and so you got to commend him for that. But he's also saying, "I can't concentrate for the game," and maybe that's the reason. Arteta fancies right.
Just a game or in life, because I tell you what, I could send him a few websites. I'm sure you could sit and watch them for more than 60 seconds. My
Mainly the Joey Knight podcast.
Elite on the old red tube. Right, okay. Let's move on to your starting left back, Levi Colwill. Obviously, he was out for the last match. Cucurella in there. Cucurella been putting in stellar performances. I've come under a little bit of stick for saying that I do think that Cucurella is ahead of Ben Chilwell, even when fit and available, because of the way this team are playing at the moment. What is your logic behind having Levi Colwill there?
First of all, you deserve that stick as well, by the way.
Really?
Chilwell is really, really good. I don't know why suddenly you've gone, Cucurella is way better than Chilwell.
Okay.
Tell me. I am actually interested to know this.
Do you think that Chilwell is a better defender than Cucurella?
Yes.
Yeah?
So I honestly do.
You would argue that you would fancy Chilwell to take the ball off of a player more when he has a man running at him than you would Cucurella?
I think Chilwell in his prime, absolutely. Like Chilwell when he's got an injury and he's carrying something, maybe not. But Chilwell in his prime, yeah.
Again, though, we're not doing... if everyone's fit and available, we're doing the current, how things are at the minute. So if I'm looking at the current landscape and how things are at the minute, do I fancy, this is just mine, you don't need to agree with it, but do I fancy, and I love Ben Chilwell, by the way, absolutely love Ben Chilwell. Do I fancy Ben Chilwell as being better when he has a player running towards him than Cucurella? No, I don't. Do I think that Ben Chilwell has more creativity in his little toe than Cucurella? Yeah. I do. But what I'm saying is the way we're playing now, I used this point before, but I'll just relay it again. When Ben Chilwell and Reece James were our main attacking threats, look at the boys we had up top. Mason Mount, decent for a few seasons, but, towards the end wasn't banging in goals in that last season. Pulisic, Kai Havertz, Ziyech, and a non-firing Lukaku. Brilliant. Now, look at the players we've got up there. Our front line's chipping in with goals. We scored more than Arsenal's front line, and everyone, raves about Martinelli and Saka and Jesus. We've scored more than them between our front line. Yeah. So I think that now our front line's chipping in with goals. We're not as reliant upon those fullbacks bombing on. And I actually do think that in that position now, it's going to upset people. I mean, absolutely no disrespect to him, but I put Ben Chilwell as probably the third choice in that position now. I would have
Colwill and
there's an argument between Colwill and Cucurella, and obviously in this match you've gone with Colwill. So what's your reason in having Colwill over Cucurella here?
Do you know what? The main thing that I was thinking about here is a tactical decision. It's about height. Because I feel that Newcastle are going to load the box, load set pieces. They've got some very big, strong defenders. And if they are going to score goals against us, I can see it coming in the set piece area. And we've also been shit at set pieces, by the way, this season. We've been really, really bad at defending them. So I do think that's the reason why I went for Colwill here. I think they're going to be big, strong guys. Newcastle are a physical team. And so I just thought, let's use Colwill's experience and physicality. Whereas, do you know what? Cucurella does surprise me, actually. He does have a bit more physical sort of guile than you think for a guy of his size. He is actually quite
completely
stocky.
Dragged Haaland to the floor, and it's not like Haaland made a meal out of it, did he? So
and it was an obvious penalty that it obviously should have been given.
I don't think he'd lie.
That was a disgrace. An absolute joke. Let's just get that very clearly here. I said it in my match review, and I mean this. That was a 4-3 win for Chelsea. Simple as that. But look, this is no disrespect to Cucurella. I love him. I think he's been great. But this is purely a tactical decision for me. Am I being insane?
No, I think that's fair enough, to be honest. I think that when you say about us from set pieces this season, even from open play, we saw the match that we were at, the Brentford game, end up getting sort of scored from at the back post. The Arsenal game, West Ham game, plenty of times the ball's been crossed in the box. And when we look at that man that I spoke about, Kieran Trippier, the amount of chances he's creating, the amount of times he gets in those positions to whip balls into the box, I think having that aerial presence there is a good thing. And also, do you know what? Like, I would go Thiago Silva and Levi Colwill as my centre-back pairing. However, if the circumstances are that he's not in the pairing, do I want to get him on the pitch? Yeah, I really do, because I really, really rate Levi Colwill. Moving on to the midfield, there's literally no questions there.
I think, do you know what, actually? This week is the question for me, right? Because let's talk about Enzo for a second. Because we've just been sort of glossing over Enzo slightly, haven't we? But his form, I wouldn't say he's dwindling, but he definitely looks tired, doesn't he?
Well, can I say something, sort of devil's advocate here? And yeah, he will be tired. Mate, listen, I've got a kid. It's hard work. He's just had his first child, and his missus, I need to explain, didn't have the child himself.
He tried.
He tried. He was involved in the conception.
And he's been flying to Argentina, mate, over and over again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, go and play for Spain, mate. No, like what I would say is he's probably tired from that, and also I do genuinely think I love Kovacic. Kante, when he was available, brilliant. When was he available last season? Hardly ever. Last season, in our midfield, probably, if Enzo was performing to the standard he is right now, he's the best player in there. And then we're looking at things very different. But people that go, oh, what? You're 11th now, 10th now, and you're 12th last. Yeah, brilliant. No one can deny we've levelled up massively this season.
Yeah.
And when you look at our midfield, when you look at how Caicedo's performing, when you look at how... Listen, Gallagher's getting all the praise, and rightly so. You look at Gallagher's numbers compared to Declan Rice's. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Let me just...
Pull up the receipts.
Right.
Pull up those receipts.
Let's back this up. Let's go with Conor Gallagher in comparison to Declan Rice. By the way, love Declan Rice. Top bloke from Kingston, quite close to me.
Chelsea Academy player.
Yeah, Chelsea Academy player. Right, okay, ball recoveries. Gallagher has... This is over 12 games, which they've both played 12 games. Gallagher has played about 12 more minutes of football this season than Declan Rice in those 12 games. Ball recoveries, Gallagher... Well, not even edges it, he clears it. Shots on target, edges it. Chances created, double for Conor Gallagher. Duels contested, he's in the lead there. Tackles made, in the lead there. Take-ons completed, in the lead there. Aerial duel successes, that is Gallagher by double. Again, interceptions, he edges it. So
done. He's a way better player. World class. People saying Declan Rice is world class.
How much did Declan Rice cost?
100 million plus.
How much does Conor Gallagher cost now?
300.
Yeah, 300 million. Do you know what I'd do with Conor Gallagher? Do you know what I'd do with Conor Gallagher right now? I would do, you know what PSG did with Mbappe? Where like Mbappe almost owns the club. And yeah.
Just give him the keys.
Yeah.
Just let him take charge.
Do what you want with it, mate.
He's chief exec.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
He's a good lad.
But Enzo, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that he's not quality. Again, he's giving me loads of abuse. I'm not saying he's not quality. What I'm saying is maybe it would be good to rest him, because I feel that it's a hamstring injury waiting to happen. I feel that it's like a 6-weeker waiting to happen. And
have you seen the stats on hamstring injuries in the Premier League this season?
Almost
like
double.
Up by 50% or 100%.
Scary.
Yeah, crazy.
Really, really scary. So like that's why maybe you just go Gachukwu in this one, give him a go. He's been good when he's played.
Romeo Lavia. We need to see him back, because I tell you what, that little rotation there could be brilliant. I wouldn't rest Enzo personally. I think, listen, I've actually, I don't want to use the word stick. That's what the people on YouTube try and say. Oh, you give him stick. I haven't given him any stick. I've just said that I'd like to see him performing to a little bit of a higher level. We looked at him last season and we thought, brilliant, you could do with a Caicedo next year. We put him next year. Now let's see what you can do. But all that being said, I do think he's been really, really good. Like, I do think he's been really good. Just seeing more individual mistakes from him this season than maybe we did last season. But in terms of how much he's been chipping in for things and that, not much of a massive difference, to be honest. I thought he elevated us massively last season, the poor side. Onto the forward line. Palmer, that place picks itself. Sterling, that place picks itself. Jackson.
I don't think Sterling does pick itself.
It does, mate.
It doesn't.
It does.
And I was really, really, really torn with this, because Mudryk has been brilliant. Like, when are we going to see this guy play? He's just played in a European qualification match where he should have won a penalty in the last minute. Italy
was bang out of order, wasn't it?
Italy robbed them. They robbed Ukraine of a place. Now,
so are Ukraine not going?
Ukraine have got to go to a playoff spot now,
right?
To then go and qualify. Hopefully, so they're not guaranteed.
Denmark
to qualify.
aren't. Not Denmark. Norway aren't going either. Or they in playoffs?
Yeah, Norway are out. Yeah.
So, no Mudryk, no Odegaard, no Haaland.
It's big losses. Mudryk is right up there. You see, look, you've put him in good company there. I like that.
No,
and
can I just say something? Right? What did you call me the other day when we were talking about Tyson Fury?
Dick rider.
You, my friend, you are a Mudryk dick rider.
I'm taking it. Look. It's about talent identification, mate. It's about understanding quality.
Don't dress it up in these fancy words, mate.
We're a squad identification. We're scouts.
Yeah.
We already work for Chelsea, right? So we know the players' quality. I'm saying now Mudryk is going to be brilliant. So to have him on the bench week in, week out is not good.
But how can you? You can't justify dropping Raheem Sterling in the form he's in. You can't. Give me an argument. How'd you drop him?
Is he
Mudryk played brilliant for the Ukraine
bully?
and no, well, he's not a flat track bully though, is he? Because he's just absolutely had Carl Walker on skates. He
did.
He
was up for that game
to pieces.
He was very up for that game. I do like Raheem, and he is proving me wrong because I almost thought at the end of last season he was done. That's how bad it was. But he has been good. But I just feel we need to try and get Mudryk in the team somehow. Maybe it is just coming off the bench. But
I do think it will be coming off the bench, unfortunately. That's what I do think at the minute. Look, like in times gone by, and probably a little bit guilty of this with the Lukaku thing. Lukaku just wasn't doing it, but I was going, mate, we spent 97 million on him. Get him in the team. And then we give him the chance, and it never really happened with him. I know before you've said to me you think that's a little bit unfair and might not have been given as much of a chance, but I just think like I'm not going to be in that mould anymore of going, we spent this much money on him. If you've got a player in there that is performing to the highest of their ability, which I do think Sterling is at the moment, I think keep him in there. And I also think with the England snubs, he's going to have his back up a little bit, and that's going to be good for him. So I would go with him there. And Jackson, the main man through the middle, you picked him over Brower. Brower obviously won a penalty for us against Arsenal. Reasoning? I
really like Brower, and do you know what? I'm kind of thinking, like, do I want Brower in the team? And I really struggled with this. But then again, you go, Jackson's just been brilliant. He's just scored a hat-trick against Spurs. You know, did looked all right the other day. So I don't think you can drop him. And again, Brower, I don't know how fit he is. And that's the thing that really worries me with him. But do you know what? I'm 50-50 with those boys.
Listen, I'll be obviously dropping my final thoughts on Friday after Pochettino's press conference, and we'll go through it all then. I'm pretty confident I'd like to see Jackson in there as well. Let's finish it off. Score prediction. What are you saying?
So hard. I'm going to go 2-1 win for Chelsea.
I'm going to go 2-1 win as well for Chelsea. That's what I had in my head. People, we want to know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you've got time, stick your starting 11 picks in the comments section. Make sure you head over to Josh's channel. It's linked in the description. Drop him a subscribe so you can see all of his content coming out. Also, if you're wondering where this podcast comes to you from, it is the podcast rooms in Barnes. I've linked their website. You can go on their website, type Joey Knight in there, and you will get 25% discount. I think the code's Joey Knight 25. I'll put it in the description. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Like the video because that's helping me massively since you lot have been doing that recently. And I will see you all in the next one.